So going back about 2 weeks ago, well, even longer than that, I was getting phone calls from my dear friend Siggy Flicker down in Florida, Michelle Lubin Karras, a.k.a. Jexit, and a host of others, Linda Sedaka. And they were telling me that I need to join this coalition, ZOA. Initially, I was told to join some group. It doesn't matter who they are now because I'm long gone, but I was told that David Friedman, my dear friend, the former ambassador, was a part of the group, and I said, sure. So I took part in this Zoom, and I was with that group for a little bit, but things went south in a hurry. And then I stopped hearing, and I really stopped participating because I'm a busy guy. And then, like I said, all my girls down in Florida said, Sid, you gotta hop on ZOA. I said, listen, if you tell me to do it, I'll do it. So a couple of weeks ago, I took part in this Zoom, and it was literally 3 days before elections started. They started about 2 weeks ago on a Monday, and they go through May the 4th. And on this Zoom, we had a bunch of really cool people like Gabriel Boxer. You know who he is, Kosher Guru. And one of the people I met was a guy named Mort Klein. And Mort Klein is a legitimate legend. He's the president of ZOA. He's one of the most influential, powerful, and great Jews in the country today and around the world. So I'm thrilled to have Morton make his debut on Sid and Friends in the morning. Morty Klein, how are you, buddy?
It is such a thrill for me to be on with the legendary Sid Rosenberg. Thank you so much.
No, the thrill is really mine. And again, we took part in that Zoom together, and you were terrific. I mean, you got it all. You're a good-looking guy. You're smart. You got all the right friends in all the right places. But for folks that want to vote, right, you could still vote today, obviously. Again, I believe it goes till May the 4th. I need you because you run this club. It's the oldest of all of them, this coalition. I need you to explain, Morton, why ZOA should be the only choice.
ZOA has been involved in the World Zionist Congress since the very beginning, over 100 years ago. No other group has that type of experience. We are also, frankly, the most courageous, strongest, right-of-center Zionist group in America. We will be fighting for the right for Jews to build and live in Judea and Samaria. We'll be fighting effectively to get rid of boycott, divestment, and sanctions, BDS, from the college campuses. We have changed books, changed programs, changed university programs. We've been effective. We've filed more lawsuits defending Jewish students under Title VI than any other group in America. And we made Title VI cover Jews. It never used to cover Jews. ZOA launched an effective 6-year campaign alone to change the interpretation of Title VI to cover Jewish students, to protect them against harassment, discrimination, and the horrors that you see on campuses now. We are the only major group publicly fighting against the establishment of a Palestinian state, which would be a terrorist state run by Hamas and Abbas for sure. We're the only Jewish group that has publicly supported Trump's Gaza plan, that there's no place for the Arabs to live in Gaza now. It's been destroyed. And Donald Trump says he wants to take it over, rebuild it, and make sure that Islamist terrorists, that Arab terrorists are no longer there, threatening the south of Israel. The Jews in the south of Israel are afraid to live there because of constant rockets and terrorist attacks from Gaza. Trump's plan will end that. The ones who are fighting for Israel to announce sovereignty over Judea and Samaria and the Jordan Valley. And we, by the way, the government of Israel, which is Likud, the word Likud has endorsed one group to vote for. They've endorsed the ZOA coalition, slate number 15. And you know who else has endorsed us? The great Academy Award-winning actor, Jon Voight, has put out a video urging people to vote for ZOA coalition.org.
That's a great one.
And the Knesset, the top guy in the Knesset, Amir Ohana, has publicly endorsed us in a video as well. So for that, and frankly, many more reasons, we urge everyone to help us fight for Jews, help us fight for Israel by giving us your vote. By giving us your vote, we'll have more delegates in these meetings, and we'll have much more influence to influence the policies of Israel and influence where over $1 billion in funds goes. We'll be fighting to do what's right for the Jewish people, courageously and effectively, with no fear of what the media and the left wing say about us. We'll fight and make things happen despite the left and those hostile capital to Israel.
Great job. This is Morton Klein, my new buddy, Morton Klein. He's the national president of ZOA, the Zionist Organization of America. As he said, about 20-plus slates running here. We are slate number 15. You mentioned over $1 billion. I've had people tell me maybe even as much, Morton Klein, as $2 billion responsible. That money, we'd be responsible for that money. People say to me, well, where does it go? And I go, well, it could go anywhere from planting trees to, I don't know, supplying arms. I don't really know the answer to that. So you tell me, if in fact we win and we are responsible for $1 billion to $2 billion, where does that money go?
We'll be fighting for that money to go to help develop the Jordan Valley and Judea and Samaria. There's now 600,000 or more Jews in Judea and Samaria. We're going to make sure that more homes are built there. More homes are built in eastern Jerusalem. More money is put there to solidify Israel's hold on Jerusalem. We dare not give any part of Jerusalem to the Arabs. And you know what's interesting about Jerusalem? It's not holy to Muslims. Do you hear what I just said? It's not holy to Muslims. The word Jerusalem is never mentioned, not a single time in their holy book, the Quran. And when the Arabs controlled Jerusalem for 20 years, not a single Arab leader except the leaders of Jordan ever visited it because it means nothing to them. We are the only ones that say that and fight for it. So we're going to make sure that Jerusalem remains the undivided capital of Israel. In addition, by the way, we're going to be putting more monies to helping the IDF, the soldiers, with equipment they need, with body protectors, with helmets. They don't have enough of them. We'll be fighting to make sure the IDF is stronger and stronger and stronger, so to be able to make sure our enemies don't hurt Israel. And you know the war has restarted. Israel is now attacking Hamas again. And during this ceasefire, Sid, I don't know if people know, Hamas has recruited 20,000 more soldiers. They've replenished their armed forces. Israel is now fighting to degrade them again and to ultimately destroy them. So we'll be providing funds to make the IDF stronger and to make sure that Jews have everything they need in Judea and Samaria, and that Jerusalem remains the undivided capital of Israel, and much, much more.
Well, that's great. Morton Klein right here, the president of ZOA. I work with another group, of course, and they actually fly me to Israel 2 or 3 times a year. They're flying me back, Morton, April the 26th. I'll be making a very, very big speech for my friend Alex Trayman, jns.org, their annual summit on April the 28th. Then I'm going to celebrate Independence Day. Good, you're going to be there. Good, Morty. And then April 30th, I'm going to celebrate Independence Day. But that's my dear friend Scott Feltman and the One Israel Fund. They also get up every day like we do and you do at ZOA, trying to make sure that one day we get annexed and we get sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, because, you know, what people don't understand is that is the homeland. That is where it all starts, right? That's the biblical territory right there. And we're not that far removed from actually dropping off terrorists, prisoners who were part of that horrible exchange deal in Judea and Samaria. And from there, as you know, Morty, you're less than a half hour away from Tel Aviv, and maybe a little longer, but about 45 minutes in East Jerusalem. And they've already bombed 5 buses. They're already looking for Intifada Part 3. So that area becomes so important. David Friedman's written a book about it. We have to make sure, whether it's Trump or somebody else, that the world recognizes Judea and Samaria, annexes it, sovereignty. I know you agree.
It's not. We don't need to annex it. This is our territory under the law, according to the Bible. We're simply applying sovereignty to an area that we legally control.
Right.
And we are called Jews because we're from Judea. You know, Jew is a contraction of the word Judean. We are Judeans. Jew is a contraction of that word. That's where we're from. We're the people who have lived there for thousands of years. And by the way, I want to say, my friends, and I've talked to them about it, Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas and Brian Mast, the congressman from Florida, who's the head of the House Foreign Relations Committee, they've now introduced legislation to make it illegal under federal law for any federal documents to use the word West Bank. They're now demanding the word Judea and Samaria is used, the authentic term. The word West Bank has been promoted by the Arabs to de-Judaize area. Senator Cotton, Congressman Mast, they want that to stop and to only use Judea and Samaria.
I love that. So, Morton, for folks that are listening right now, and I've talked about ZOA, obviously, and most of my audience does know about it, but there may be some new people tuning in that don't know about it, but you just made such a great argument for folks to vote for ZOA. What's the easiest way for people to do it?
They can go onto ZOAcoalition.org, ZOAcoalition.org, and that will send you to where you have to go to register and to vote, ZOAcoalition.org. I urge everyone to strengthen us. We are the ones who've been clear thinking about all the issues for the last 30 years since Oslo happened. In fact, I was just in Israel, Sid, with the presidents of all the major Jewish organizations in a trip. Michael Oren was the speaker the first night. Michael Oren is the former Israel ambassador to the United States, and he's a liberal guy. He's on the left. He's not a member, not on the right. When he finished his speech, Michael Oren said this to the entire group: I have to admit something, with Mort Klein sitting here. Mort, you and ZOA have been right about everything. He said that. That's an exact quote, acknowledging that we've been right about everything, even though we were attacked bitterly for not supporting Oslo, not supporting the Gaza withdrawal. But now it's clear that was the right thing to do. Michael Oren acknowledged that. And Gideon Sa'ar, the foreign minister of Israel, urged all of us to publicly oppose a Palestinian state. Yet not a single Jewish group has done it except the Zionist Organization of America. You will strengthen us if you vote ZOAcoalition.org to fight for these issues that have now so clearly the right issues to be fighting for.
You're great, Mort. I got to tell you, I enjoyed spending time with you a couple of weeks ago. I've enjoyed this conversation today. I look forward to building an even stronger bond when we win, when ZOA wins. But regardless, either way, you're great and a great job here this morning. And we'll talk again very soon. God bless you, Morton Klein. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Your voice is so important. You're so smart. You're so articulate. You're so eloquent in your speech.
Thank you.
That is so. Thank God that the Jews have someone like you in the important job that you hold right now.
That means a lot to me, Morton. It really does. Thank you very, very much. We'll talk again very soon. There he is, folks, the president of the Zionist Organization of America. What an impressive guy, the great Morton Klein. We'll take a short break. More to do on the Wednesday edition of Sid and Friends in the Morning.